Hello everybody and welcome back to Conor here. Hope you're doing fantastically well and we are churning out the videos at this moment in time. I hope you've enjoyed the weekend's content. It's been something a little bit different and yeah, I think it's about 6 videos that we've got out now for all Leeds TV, potentially 7 over the weekend. So make sure you check all that out, give it a like and give your comments. You know, we're massively interested in what you guys think, what your opinions are, and I know you lot, especially the Leeds fan, the average Leeds fan is very vocal. But listen, Hull City, the turnaround in games is, I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't know what you guys think. Drop your comments in the section below on what you think on the hectic period, but I've loved it since I was a kid. At the end of the day, football for me, especially Leeds United. If there isn't football, I get a little bit down in the dumps, you know what I mean? I just love this game so much, and especially when Leeds United play. I'm heading down there tomorrow night, heading down there on Saturday, and then I'll be heading down there for Preston. So if you see me tomorrow night, you want to come and say hi, have a chat, make sure you do. I normally chill out by the Brenda statue before the game, that'd be great. But yeah, so that'll be fantastic, I can't wait. So anyway, Hull City. I'm always nervous to play Hull, and you guys must think every time I start this video I say that. I'm nervous. I am, I'm just naturally like that. I wish I wasn't, but I naturally am when it comes to Leeds United, do you know what I mean? You'd never know what you're going to get from a Leeds side throughout an entire season. There's going to be peaks, there's going to be troughs, and I'm terrified for this trough, whatever that's going to be. But hopefully that won't come. Hopefully it'll just be a sustained peak with just a little bit of a drop. But I'm expecting a really good Hull side, I am, and this is a Hull side that's lost recently to bottom of the league. Barnsley, this is a Hull side who've not been able to beat Middlesbrough from being 2-0 ahead. This is a side that's also lost to West Bromwich Albion in the past 6 games, but this is also a side who's gone away to Fulham and won 3-0. This is also a side who's played Preston at home and drubbed 4 past them. They are so unpredictable, and you saw that last season with Hull. They went on a little bit of a run, but then they went on a bit of a dire run as well. And this is a Hull side who's not changed dramatically. The implementation of Tom Eaves up front from Gillingham, but that structure still remains the same. You know, Irvine's going to be available, which he wasn't in the Ellen Road fixture last season, and I think he is part of the best 11 when they have a 4-4-1-1. I think I like that system when Hull play. Reece Burke demanding the back line, a very experienced back line as well, because you've got the likes of Eric Lehigh back there, then you've got Kevin Stewart in the middle, who is a tidy player. You know, I think he was second to Calvin Phillips last year in the amount of tackles and interceptions made, so they're no joke. And then obviously we know they've got the big boys on the wing. So Leeds have still got we've got to be on point, seriously on point for this game, because last season, once again, and I said it against Borough, and I said it the weekend as well, sometimes these are games which Leeds United will lose. Do you know what I mean? These are games that Leeds United will lose because it's the sort of inconsistency, and it was the inconsistency that was bred through last season. We need to take this game seriously. It's a big game. You know, a win tomorrow night is another huge step in the right direction, another massive step in the direction towards promotion for this club for the first time in as many years. So it's huge. It's a huge game. This next week's huge, you know, because you could easily see these being 2 losses. You really could, especially, you know, you look at on previous form, these could be 2 losses, you know, so we've got to be fully there concentration wise for the next week. And then we've got a huge Christmas weekend coming up with the likes of Birmingham, West Bromwich Albion and Fulham all awaiting Leeds United's visit. So this is huge to get 6 points out of 6. 2 teams, I'm going to do obviously my Cardiff preview a little bit later on, but two teams who are very unpredictable, and Cardiff looking a bit further ahead, 8th now in the table and making their way up, and definitely they can hit the playoffs 100% with their quality. But Hull City, who am I most scared of? It's not scared, but who do Leeds need to look at most? I remember last season when we played Hull City, I'm not sure in the first leg when we beat them 1-0, I'm not sure Bowen was playing. I'm not sure that might have been his one game that he was out, or you know, he didn't really feature. But the second leg, obviously they played us, and I've said this on Twitter, I think that was one of the best performances I've seen at Ellen Road. It was one of the first where we lost, you know, it was towards the Christmas period. It was about the same time we played Hull last season, and I think The only games we really lost at that point were Birmingham at home, but Birmingham shut us out and they hit us with 2 counter-attacks, you know, 2 counter-attacks with that, which arguably Bailey Peacock-Farrell had 2 howlers on. Whereas Hull came and they played football. They played football against Leeds United, and this is what I'm talking about with the unpredictability of Hull, and that's where they're vulnerable. You can hit them, but they're also very aggressive. You know, with the likes of Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen, 20 appearances this season, 14 goals. This is a guy who's not naturally an out-and-out striker. He can be a winger, he can be a 10, he can play anywhere, he can play right back. He's a wonderful footballer, and I cannot believe he's still at Hull and he's not in the Premier League. And I'm talking top 10 in the Premier League, by the way. We talk about Calvin Phillips. Jared Bowen is on the same level quality-wise, you know, if not better. This is a guy who's been producing now for about 2 or 3 years and at the highest level. Do you know what I mean? Last season he was played as a winger and I think he got 24 goals. He's a wicked player, and you know, when you think you've dealt with him, on the other side you've got Kamil Grzycki. You know, we were all hyped up when we saw Matthias Klich been embedded in that Poland side. This Grzycki's been in the Poland side for around 10 years now, and he's been doing it week in, week out for Hull. Do you know what I mean? 6 goals for him this season as well. A nice little tally so far. So these are no mugs at all. And on the day, you know, we've seen what they can do at Fulham. We've seen what they can do to Preston. This Leeds United side are going to have to be wary. We're going to have to be wary. We're going to have to play to our game. We cannot start the game like we started the game against Huddersfield. I think we were poor in that first half, and we were quite lucky to not go down 1-0. And some of you might disagree, but me and Oscar were sat here and we were conceding chances. We weren't able to get into our game, and that's what this Hull City side are going to do with Leeds. They're going to press us like they did at Ellen Road last year under Nigel Atkins. They're going to press us, and if they get that ball, if Leeds aren't crisp with those passes, they could potentially pick us off. But we've got to be really wary. But listen, can we do it? Of course we can do it. You know what I mean? This is the Leeds United side, and you know, we'll bear in mind that I'm saying there that they've you know, lost to Barnsley recently. They can't beat a Borough side from being 2-0 up. They've lost to West Bromwich Albion as well, which I think is a big factor, because I think we need to sort of match them in everything they do. And yeah, listen, we should be beating them. We should be beating them. And if we want to see a Leeds United that's different from last season, we've got to be beating them, because this is at the exact same time as we played Hull last season, as I've mentioned. And they came in, and if I'm being brutally honest with you guys, we didn't create that many chances against Hull. They were resolute and they picked us off, and it could have been more than 2. Do you know what I mean? So it's really nice, and it'll be really nice to gauge Leeds' improvement from last season for me. You know, how comparatively are we better in this game against Hull than we were last season? Because we were flying last year as well, if you remember. Absolutely flying. I think we're 4 points better off this season so far, but we were flying last season as well. Yeah, and as I said, guys, it's going to be a huge game for KP, massive game. Obviously, like I've just said with Jared Bowen, he's just going to be, he normally just floats between that front sort of 3 and 4. That's when they're playing that 4-2-3-1 formation. If they're going to go into a 4-4-1-1, I don't know, because Bowen, he's either going to be on the tip or he's going to be a winger. He might switch it round. If I was McCann, I'd switch it round a little bit, because I think that might bamboozle Leeds United. But we can definitely beat this lot, 100%. It's just got to be about application and staying focused for Leeds, because they can hit you, they can damage you. They've definitely got Premier League quality. So it is up to Leeds to be fully focused with this game, not be complacent, and keep those levels up. Do you know what I mean? If we can keep those levels up, we can maintain those levels, we're easily going to be within touching distance this season. Briefly want to touch on West Brom as well. I mean, I watched that game yesterday and they were absolutely brilliant. 5-1 against the Swansea side. I mean, Pereira, just a special shout out to him. The only reason I'm mentioning them is because, you know, you're getting a lot of social media hype at this moment in time about Leeds versus West Brom. I think how we've got to look at it is, it's 3rd place for me. If you look at 3rd place, that's the most important thing. How far are they behind? What is it, 8 points behind us now? 10 points behind West Bromwich Albion. I think we should be focusing on that a little bit more. But a massive week for Leeds United. I'm still a little bit nervous for this one, but I'm going to go with a 2-0 Leeds win. I think we'll get it over the line. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this preview, as I said, please slap a like on the video. I'll be waiting for the other guys' previews as well, which I assume are going to be out either today or tomorrow. I'll see you in a bit.